Hello, hello. Good morning. Happy Tuesday, April the 8th. I am Manila Chan. That over there is Ted Rall. You are tuned in to the Ted Manila Information Show, or TMI Show for short, where we bring you, of course, way too much information. And a lot of the times it's stuff you never wanted to know, but now you're going to know it as you're tuned in here.
Whether you like it or not.
That's right. If you're tuned in, you're going to learn stuff. We are live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. So please be sure to like and follow the show, whatever platform that you are watching and consuming it on YouTube. Hit that join button. I think it's called join. And on Rumble, you can follow. And if you're in the live chat where it gets lit on Rumble, you can help us by becoming a monthly subscriber by hitting the subscribe button right below that lit up chat. So today's show, Ted, I think we should give a warning, right? Ted's not feeling so well, so it's not going to be a very long show, but still not short of information. Short show, but not short of information.
No. In fact, we're just going to pack it in more densely. It's sort of like how it's been determined that we used to think that dogs were smarter than cats because their brains were bigger. But now we know that cats are smarter than dogs because they have more neurons packed more densely together. Which is why cats don't eat their own shit. That's also a giveaway.
Yeah. Well, cats also can decide things for themselves, like regardless of how much you train them.
Whether they like you or not.
Yeah, they'll just, they don't care. So I would say that's a little more intelligent. Dogs are more loyal.
That's part of their stupidity. Cats are they're much more successful. Felines are more successful evolutionarily than canines.
Oh, I was going to say, how are you defining this?
Yeah, I don't mean like education or in the workplace.
They perform.
Dogs
much
are probably more successful in the workplace, but felines there's more species, there's more numbers, they have more range. There's a lot more cats than there are dogs.
But you know what, Ted? The last headline, which I want to read because it's so damn cute. There's another.
Well, it's also terrifying.
Species.
It's cute and terrifying.
Oh my God, it's such a cute story, though. I will show you guys
in a terrifying way.
Yes, we'll talk about the terrifying nature of headline 5. But I think it's only going to be terrifying for North Americans, potentially, I think.
Well, it depends. It depends on anything could happen. You saw that dinosaur movie, Jurassic Park. Anything could happen.
We'll explain that towards the end of the show, which we're going to condense. So with that,
which by the way, we're now live on X.
Yes,
because I subscribed to Premium and Facebook and
but our first Twitter,
Twitch,
the TMI
Twitch,
the TMI X/Twitter, which I will continue to dead name, was always live because we subscribed as a premium Twitter account in order to give the live feed on Twitter. Mm-hmm. But I think it's also live on mine. So all this, we're trying to expand like monkeypox. Just get around and get everywhere.
Or like Chris Christie's waistline.
Oh, I'm still very sad for how Trump used to attack him. It's not nice. Ted.
No.
It's not nice. And the media really,
although nice is not really a Trump thing. It's not a Trump thing.
But look, the media even made fun of him, he and his wife, when they were sunning on the beach a couple years ago.
Well, that's not because they were sunning on the beach. It's because the state was closed. There was a national strike. I mean, a statewide strike.
What I read was they were, comparing them to beached whales.
Well, they did kind of look like that, yeah.
It's still not nice. It's mean. I wonder if he's gotten Ozempic skinny. Revenge bod.
Could be.
Somebody should look into Chris Christie. And no one's seen him for 2 years.
Yeah, maybe he's hot now.
Pompeo lost a lot of weight. We thought he was going to run. Remember?
Well, that's just because he doesn't have a soul, and the soul takes up a lot of space. So, he, as a neoconservative, he doesn't have one. So,
but we thought he was going to run for office. he lost all that weight. And that's typically what happens when politicians like go through revenge bod. They come back the next cycle and
Yeah,
office.
that's true. Yeah,
Well,
when
Chris
Chris
Christie.
Christie had stomach stapling surgery,
Oh,
and
he's
people thought
cute.
it was in preparation for a presidential run, but
Mm.
I guess it didn't take. It
Oh,
doesn't always work.
I didn't know that he did that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. With that, that's all the info that you didn't know about
And didn't
the
want to,
former New Jersey
didn't want to know
governor.
at all.
That's right. Or the image of Chris Christie sunbathing,
Mm,
half naked
tasty,
on the Jersey Shore.
delicious,
All right.
scrumptious.
With that, let's get into the headlines.
All right. So President Trump says that the United States is engaged in direct talks with Iran over its nuclear program, and said that a meeting with very high-level officials is set for this coming Saturday. That would, of course, be a big departure from previous talks between the U.S. and Iran, which have only taken place through intermediaries. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi denies the direct aspect of these talks, however. He does confirm that the U.S. and Iran will meet in Oman, but said that they're going to be in separate rooms as Omani diplomats run back and forth between the two. Okay.
That makes sense.
So it's kind of like, basically they have it's like a diplomatic condom between them. They have a separation barrier, so they can't be totally intimate.
You cannot say those are direct talks if you're not mano a mano and like across the table from each other. That's not direct
true.
Talks.
I mean, it's also really, I have to say, kind of dumb.
Dumb.
Why not? Look, you're going all the way to fucking Oman. It's just like,
Oman is beautiful, by the way.
Just step back, just get back in, and just go next door to each other's room, right? I mean, hello. Anyway,
so dumb.
So whatever the format, Trump says he's hoping for progress. If the talks aren't successful with Iran, I think Iran is going to be in real danger, he said. And I hate to say it, great danger, because they can't have a nuclear weapon. It's not a complicated formula. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. That's all there is. While a breakthrough is unlikely, the talks' existence at all suggests that both sides see an advantage in trying to suss out whether they can strike a deal. So this isn't really about making a deal. It's about sort of just feeling each other out. There are some hopeful signs in response to warnings that the U.S. might bomb Iran. The leaders of 4 of the largest Iranian-backed militia groups in Iraq told Reuters that they're prepared to surrender their weapons to the Iraqi government. And people may have forgotten that Iraq kind of became a wholly owned subsidiary of Iran after the U.S. withdrew. Anyway, the leaders of these big 4 militia groups told Reuters that they'll turn over all their weapons to the Iraqis. Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani has met with militia commanders and said, you guys should really disarm, according to the Iraqis. But we don't really, those are anonymous sources. The militia commanders also say that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, who supply them, have agreed to let local group leaders inside Iraq decide how best to respond to Trump. Though the moves by the militias are probably more of a tactical retreat than a surrender, any move to disarm would give the Trump administration a foreign policy victory without having to attack. The Islamic Resistance in Iraq, a group of about 10 heavily armed Shia militias with 50,000 fighters and access to heavy weapons, including long-range missiles, has attacked both Israeli and American military targets in the past. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, I don't know about these talks. So I think the irony, Ted, is that so in order to sort of just to undo what Obama did while he was in office with the Iran nuclear deal with the JCPOA, he undid it, right? Unilaterally was like, I'm out, pulling the rug out from everybody, I'm out. And then he goes and complains, hey, wait, like they got all this money back from Obama, the money that's rightfully theirs. And now they can, they can build a weapon, which kind of doesn't make sense because the whole point of the JCPOA was to stop Iran from making weapons, nuclear weapons grade materials. And now you're like, I want to have a new JCPOA. So do you think it was, I mean, this would be very Trumpian of him, but do you think he killed it just because it was an Obama JCPOA, just like he killed NAFTA just to make a new NAFTA to say it's a Trump thing? Like, because now he wants the same thing. He wants the JCPOA.
Pretty much. I think that, yeah, I think he basically has a hard-on for Obama, and he decided to just, like, get rid of it for that reason. I mean, the JCPOA was a pretty good agreement as these things go, and the world was a safer place. The United States was a safer place when it was in place. I think the Iranians were complying by all accounts. So, let's not forget here why it's important to remember a little history. Why do the Iranians agree not to have a nuclear weapon, right? They could easily say, fuck you, we'll develop a nuke. But actually, the Iranians have been pretty cool about it. Ever since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, they decided to keep the non-nuclear proliferation treaty in place that was signed by the Shah, who they overthrew. Now, they could have decided once they came into power, that's the Shah's deal. We've had a revolution here. We're not bound by that. But in order to, they didn't want nuclear proliferation. The Iranians voluntarily agreed to keep it in place. I think that's really important for Americans to understand. Like, that's not the actions of a country that's looking to develop a nuclear program. Yeah. They're worried about the United States attacking them. I'm sure whenever North Korea talks to Iran, he's little rocket man tells them, like, you need to be careful. The U.S. is out of my grill because I have nukes. And look at Saddam Hussein. He didn't have nukes. And where is he now?
Muammar Gaddafi.
Same thing. So,
I mean, that's a good deterrent. I mean, like it or not, I mean, if you know that your relationship with the U.S. into its fundamental core, right? Like your position on your view of the world, especially these folks were looking at the global South, and that the U.S. has had you in the crosshairs for basically your whole existence, right? Mm-hmm. At least all of the 20th century. And you have no reason to trust what the Westerners say about not wanting to completely overthrow your existing government / regime. Why wouldn't you want to protect your position of power with a couple of nukes here and there, and once that technology is out and the capability of making the nukes is there, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. It's not like they can't get these supplies and get whatever already from their buddies in Russia, or even their ties limited. I don't know how, well, because both countries, we can't really get too much exact, precise information from Iran or North Korea, but for all we know, they're making backroom deals and stuff. We don't know. That's my point. But the capabilities are abound, I guess, is my point, Ted. So if they wanted to do this, they could have done it a long time ago. So I don't think that was the entire idea behind it. They want other ballistic capabilities, right? But it doesn't have to be nukes. But I think, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen if Trump, he has the bluster. He says, we're going to, bomb the hell out of Iran like they've never seen before. I think that puts Vladimir Putin's panties in a bunch. But I also don't think that Putin wants Iran to have nukes either. Both things can be true at once, Ted. True. That I don't think he'll stand for Iran to be bombed, but I also don't think he wants Iran to have nukes. So I don't think the nukes are going to happen. I think Trump is just Trump, and he wants to have his name on as many deals around the world as possible, even if he's just dismantling Obama era ones or even Biden ones, simply for the pleasure of seeing his own name on those deals in the history books. I think that's it.
Yeah, well, I think it would be good, obviously, for the United States to have a peace deal with Iran. It's long overdue.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think Trump just wants to see his name on stuff. That's all. Like, I really think that's the motivating factor.
Really, you just think it's all about the bronze, the brass lettering.
Yeah. Yeah. He just wants to have like Trump Tower everywhere. Same thing in the diplomatic world. He just wants the history books to read. Remember, he's a lame duck this time. He's coming in and just wants to see Trump plastered all over history books. I really think that's it. I don't think he cares about anything else.
Could be. All right. Fascism has officially arrived in the United States. It's true. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts yesterday granted an administrative stay, that's a delay, that halts an appellate court division's looming deadline for the Trump administration to return a Maryland man who was wrongfully deported to El Salvador. The Trump administration admits that it fucked up when it sent Kilmar Abrego Garcia to that private for-profit hell prison in El Salvador. The appellate judge a federal judge and then the appellate division 3-judge panel both said that what had happened to him was outrageous and ordered him to be returned by the Trump administration by midnight last night. But Trump then appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court. Justice Roberts said, okay, well, we're going to take the case and we're going to think about it, and we'll get back to you in a couple of days. In the meantime, he stays in El Salvador. So the Roberts by himself is the only person who's weighed in on this. He didn't say anything about how he feels about this case. This came after U.S. District Judge Paula Zinnes told the administration to return him to the United States after the administration violated an immigration court order that said that he shouldn't be deported to the prison. But the DOJ says that the administration can't get him back because he's in another country. Never mind that we're paying rent to that other country for them to keep him. Abrego Garcia was part of the hundreds of alleged, not proven, alleged MS-13 and Tren de Aragua members who were deported last month. So the reason I say this is fascism is because now here's what we officially have, whether at least temporarily, according to Justice Roberts, and possibly permanently, depending on how the entire 9-judge panel of the Supreme Court rules. You have the highest court in the land saying that the government can kidnap anyone off the streets of an American city, including a U.S. citizen, dump them on a plane, extraordinarily rendition them wherever, El Salvador, Vanuatu, South Africa, Iran, whatever, wherever they want. And then they say, oh, well, we don't, they're no longer in our control anymore. Sorry, Manila, bye-bye, back to Laos with you. And then and then it's like, well, we no longer have control of her. The Laotians have her, and we can't get her back. Oh, well. And at bare minimum, Roberts has said, I mean, right now, this guy could be getting killed in that prison. That's a very dangerous prison. It is full of gang members, and apparently he's been targeted by gangs in the past, and they don't like him. So he's in mortal danger right now. For all we know, he could already be dead. That's fascism. When you have the state, when there's literally even U.S. citizenship does not protect you. The Supreme Court does not protect you. Your status doesn't protect you. Habeas corpus doesn't protect you. The Constitution doesn't protect you. The government can scoop you out and then just basically say, it's a fait accompli. He's gone. Oh, well, sucks to be him. Nothing we can do. Even if they rule, look, I hope that they rule against the Trump administration. If they don't, democracy's finished. That's it. Because basically no one is safe from the federal government anymore. It's goon squads, it's SS, it's brown shirts. But even if they come back and say, okay, we rule for Mr. Garcia, it's still the fact that they're dithering while they figure out what to do here. Instead, look, Roberts should have said, bring him back, and then we'll issue a ruling. But bring him back. Bring him back now. He shouldn't have gone. You admit he shouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
Bring him back. And it's sophistry to say that he's not under U.S. government control. Because, I mean, the government's not even saying, oh, well, we asked the Salvadorians, but they can't find him. Or, you know, we've been calling all night long. We can't get through. Operators, there's a long wait time. We can't get through to them. They're not even saying we're trying to get him back. Sorry, Your Honor. They're not saying anything of the sort.
Right.
I mean, this is a major story. It's the biggest story for sure yesterday.
I could be convinced that fascism has arrived if the full SCOTUS ruled on the case,
which it will in the next few days.
And if they do, for some ungodly reason, fall in line behind Chief Justice Roberts, then maybe I could be convinced. Because, I mean, you've made a compelling argument to me that this could be, if it's precedent setting, if they rule that way, then it would be completely precedent setting that this is in the same way that when President Obama bombed what's his face, Anwar al-Awlaki and his son, right? Were they in Yemen? Was it an American citizen and his son, who was born and raised in the United States?
Yep.
Without due process, Obama's administration droned and killed 2 American citizens,
father and son. Mm-hmm.
So, and the son had nothing to do with terrorism. He was a kid. He was a kid.
I think the son died first, and the father went out to look for him, and then they bombed him at the same location.
Oh, that's awful. I don't know the details of that down to that level, but at that point, I remember thinking, fascism has arrived in the form of Barack Obama. He killed American citizens without due process. When
that happened, and this was argued before the courts, the Obama administration was asked in oral arguments by the Supreme Court, if the administration wanted to, the Obama administration, could it use drones to assassinate a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil? And the AG at the time said yes. So
that's terrifying. So, I mean, if we look at it with that kind of lens, then yes, I can agree that yes, this is a sort of scary, this scary authoritarian fascist type government that we've lurched into, where suddenly your citizenship doesn't mean jack shit, and in this case of this Obrego Garcia guy, I think it's irrelevant that at this point that he originally entered illegally. At the point in which they not deported him, but they forcibly removed him, he was a legal resident of
Correct.
Maryland, which is right here by me. At this point, he was documented by the time they took him. He was documented. The courts, like the immigration courts gave him papers. He was allowed to be here. He was
that's right.
official at this point. So,
and the government does not dispute that.
Right. And I think it's just
I don't understand why
he's
gone. I guess they're arguing this because it's to protect their prerogatives, right? They're saying that the court is interfering with their ability to conduct foreign policy, and that anything involving a foreign country involves foreign policy. But we're talking about this is a court order.
It's a stretch. Robbie's laughing. I think he wants to be a part of this.
All right, bring him in.
Yes, Robbie.
Well, the whole thing, the way that you solve this problem is by having a secure border and deporting the bastards when they first come across. Don't give them papers, in catch and release, send them back to the countries of which they are from. The whole El Salvador thing, that's disgusting. If I'm an illegal immigrant from Guatemala, I'm not. Let's just say, for example,
Never been to El Salvador.
Then you send me back home, and if my country says, "Oh, I'm sorry, President Trump, we're not going to let you send our citizen back," at that point you say, "Fine, then we will destroy you economically. We're going to end all your remittances. We are going to kick your ass out of SWIFT. You will take your people back. They will change their opinion in about 30 minutes." And you send them back home with a care package, maybe a fruit cake because there's so many left over from Christmas, and there you go, problem solved.
But Robbie, what about this situation now that we're talking about?
Well, this is
this particular guy.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. The guy was here illegally,
papers,
and there was there's been no due process here.
And that's what I'm agree with you. I'm about to break everyone on Rumble right now because I'm a hardline when it comes to immigration.
We know.
So
We're aware.
So this guy, he was given papers and said, okay, sure, you broke the laws. Your very first act that you committed coming to our country is by breaking the laws, pissing on our laws, and we applaud you for that. We're going to reward you by allowing you to stay. You, at that point, have to give them due process. But I mean, is this really shocking? We are deporting people from colleges and universities who are protesting and complaining against a foreign country.
Again, with no due process.
Exactly.
Right.
That's the problem.
I mean, that's the thing. It's sort of like, well, the Trump administration is saying that like these Venezuelan guys, they're gang members. And it's like, well, so you say. The whole point of due process is that so you find out whether that's true or not. And then you can decide to act on the facts.
I completely agree. And that's what I'm saying. I agree with the two of you on this, which is, I'm sure it's, Trog, I'm looking at you because I know you think I'm a fascist. I support closing the borders and deporting every last swinging dick of illegals in this country. Send them back home. No, I will not shed any tears.
But however, underscore the home part.
Home. You go home. You don't go to a private prison that we are paying for that is nothing more than a slave labor camp at best. No, you go back to the country in which you came.
Right.
And that's...
Well, and also, what about the sophistry of the U.S. government arguing in court? Oh, well, there's nothing we can do.
Well, where are the Democrats? Well, where are the Democrats on this, Ted?
I haven't had time to
where
call,
are they?
Ted.
Where are they?
I love the fact that they don't even say we're doing everything we can.
Well, they had a protest.
We haven't been able to. We're just not. It just takes longer.
They had protests
I have some
here
sympathy for that
on Saturday.
Judge.
Speaking of that, Manila, we had a protest here in my town. We had about 100 people saying, "Keep your hands off." This is downtown This is downtown Kalispell, Montana. So I asked this one person, said, "Well, what exactly are you keeping your hands off of?" I'm like, "I don't know." So, I mean,
what?
So what exactly, so tell me specifically, what is it that you want the government to keep its hands off of? Tell me.
Okay.
I'm intrigued.
Medicare.
Because I might be willing to pick up a sign if you're saying, hey, hands off Gaza. You can't just ethically cleanse 2 million people.
Hands off Medicare or something.
Yeah, I mean, what is your point?
What I've heard from my friends is that a lot of them were told to put away their pro-Gaza signs or go away.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, here it was just, well, Elon was around the country. I was like, well, him and like 30 other oligarchs get in line. I mean, where were you 3 years ago?
Well, not to mention, this was organized by MoveOn.org.
Yeah,
and these are Democratic Party organizations.
Well, that's where the party was. Jamie Raskin was speaking here. He was one of the.
Nancy Pelosi spoke at one of them.
But that's where they are, and I don't think immigration is top of mind for them. I think the party, as it were, what they're caring about is the midterms already, and then 2028.
What do you guys think is going to happen here with SCOTUS? How do you think? I really don't know how they're going to rule here, because I mean, I do think, unfortunately, legalistically, there's a compelling argument.
Well, who's bringing the case? Is it Abrego Garcia versus the United States of America?
Right, correct. So
I mean, this would be like a precedent-setting case, like Juan Ark Kim.
Right. So the question is, I mean, so I think that the court is going to weigh the question of executive power and the power to conduct foreign policy against habeas rights. In this case, they spirited him out of the country, and they spirited him out of the country in the dead of night, contrary to at least 2 federal court orders that were very specific. And then they played cute, saying that they didn't understand what the judge was saying, like in one case, because it was
they were in the air. We can't hear you.
Yeah, exactly.
The engines are really loud.
And on social media, they were even laughing. The president of El Salvador was like, "Oops, too late." He said that. I mean, so they're making fun of the courts. I bet, by the way, that could be a deciding factor for the court. They're making fun of us. You know what I mean? Justice Roberts he's ruled against
Trump in the past, like a Trump administration
both
in the past
ways.
before. I mean, he's kind of hard to tell, and I feel like he's usually kind of a constitutionalist.
He's an institutionalist. So the question is,
he's not a constitutionalist.
He's an institutionalist. So the question is, which institution is he going to come down on?
Habeas. I don't know. I think right now it's
habeas is a 1,000-year-old fucking right in Anglo-Saxon history, right? It goes back to the Magna Carta.
Habeas corpus is dead. I mean, can we just stop pretending that it's even a thing? We had a president, and y'all mentioned this earlier, and Barack Hussein Obama, chocolate Jesus, if you would. He murdered American citizens with no due process. There was not a
as did Bush and Trump and Biden.
Exactly, and that's my point. I mean, red flag laws on their face are a violation of the Fourth Amendment.
Yeah,
you have the right to do. You have the right to due process. You cannot come and take my property or my liberty without convicting me in court.
Man, there's so much of that going around.
Of course there is. Yeah. So I mean, can we just stop pretending for once? Can we stop freaking pretending that we live in a republic? We do not. We live in an oligarchy.
All right. So what's going to happen here?
I think what they're going to do, they're going to tell Trump, sure. I mean, what you're doing is legal. Because
so that becomes at that point, if that's true, and that I agree that could easily happen. Then, Manila, what do you think is going to happen?
Nothing.
I think I'm being influenced by my hopes that
I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you what you think will happen.
Nothing's going to happen.
Well,
nothing's going to happen.
I think my hopes are influencing what I think is going to happen. Is that
at that point they can? I mean, honestly, if Roberts rules for Trump, if the Roberts Court rules for Trump, then anyone can be scooped off the street,
which is why I'm saying I think I'm
sent wherever, and that's
hope.
it, and they can never come back to their own country.
Ted, all I have to. This is one of the reasons why I opposed the Patriot Act. All I have to do, if I have power in the federal government, is say you, Ted Rall, are a danger. You are a threat to national security. At that point, I don't have to. I can do whatever I want at that point.
That's like what they're doing to Khalil, right?
Of course it is.
Mahmoud Khalil. They're saying
this is not new.
He's in the way of national security interests. What does that even mean? Nobody knows.
Which country? Country?
One of Trump's relatives, who's a judge, I think it's his sister.
His sister.
She
just died, I think.
She ruled. Yes, she did. She ruled that this law was unconstitutional a number of years ago in an unrelated case, and she said it's unconstitutionally vague. And I think she's right. I mean, you literally don't know what it means. It's kind of like when Robbie says America first. What does that mean? It's too vague. It's a slogan, but it can't be the law because it's not specific enough. It's kind of like if you just say drive safely. Okay, what does that mean? You have to define it.
Don't die.
Be careful. What does that mean? I was even sympathetic to Bush when there was that memo before 9/11 where it said Al Qaeda poised to attack the United States. Well, Bush didn't pay attention to that. Oh, what's he supposed to do with that? Be careful, Robbie. Someone's gonna punch you in the face. When? How? Who? I don't know. They're gonna.
Be careful.
Be careful. Heads up. That doesn't mean anything.
Well, that's just the thing, right? I was going against people. Again, there's a reason why my moniker is Putin Bot Gaming. Okay, back then when Trump's first term, the punchline was punch a Nazi. Okay, well, great. What is a Nazi? Define that term for me. What does that mean? No one can. And that's the intellectual dishonesty of the American government and the apathy of the American people lets them get away with it. And that's one of the reasons why YouTube is preemptively demonetizing the TMI show. Let's be honest. They don't want these opinions getting out.
Yeah. And three very diverse backgrounds and people right here, literally within this show, the three of us who work on it come from very different places and different beliefs and different childhoods and different everything. But there's so much, there's actual overlap in a lot of opinions. And, I agree with you, Robbie, that there should be stronger border controls, patrols, I guess, would strengthen the
I would put the
control.
Army on the board of the shoot on sight order. I mean,
Like,
I would unapologetically.
That I wouldn't do. I wouldn't do
Oh, I
that.
would.
However, I agree with
So you are, Charles. I'll throw you a bone
border.
right there.
I agree with that, and where this overlaps with someone like Ted, who's a socialist, I would say because it depresses a lot of wages, it messes up our economy. It, just there's a lot of things that are unaccounted for. And then if you want to go into like the disease issue, like great, fine, I get that. Okay. But when it comes to individual cases, and in this case, this Abrego Garcia guy, I think the Trump administration's totally in the wrong. And this whatever the court decides will be the new precedent. And if they fall on the side of the Trump administration and AG Barbie, then our citizenship means jack shit.
It already
Might as well open the border.
Manila, he's talking about selling it.
That's why I'm saying
you don't
so
sell something.
Might as well
sacred.
open the damn border then. What kind of country do we like? Why have any artificial land borders if our citizenship, being American, there is no definition and we're not protected by anything? Because on the one hand, the Trump administration likes to argue, oh, well, our laws only apply to American citizens. So let's reduce, who can be American citizens, like children born to illegals here in the U.S., no birthright citizenship.
I support that.
You're here on papers. Off you go to El Salvador, even though you've never been there before. Like, off you go. Yeah. So by like, in effect, the way it's being applied, being American, being a legal, a legal citizen, or not citizen, a legal resident, none of that means jack shit anymore. So why even have a border at that point?
Yeah. Well, on that note, I'm going to read the ad because I know we're going to try to keep the show a little bit shorter today.
Do we have enough people to? Because I know there's like a threshold.
Hey, listen, I got you. I got you. This Rumble's throwing us another bone here.
Oh, fabulous. Okay, let's go for it.
I love me some Rumble, and this time
this episode brought to you by.
And this time we're not going to be doing Geiger counters either. This is actually a useful product.
Oh, okay. Don't forget, we got to do the old timey. And the show is a word from our sponsor, and now a word from our sponsor. I think that's what they used to say, right?
Yep. And this actually is a word from our sponsor, Rumble from 1775 Coffee. Weak coffee is for the weak, and at Rumble, weak has never been part of the mission. No filters, no fraud, and no settling for mediocrity. Just like 1775 Coffee. It's a single origin, small farm, hand-picked, specially grade coffee that stands for quality, free speech, and calling out BS when it matters. Forget stale, mass-produced bean roasts just strong enough to hide the flaws. Dark roast hits like a Trump tariff. Medium roast keeps it bold without the bitterness. And Vitality Mushroom Blend. Real energy and lasting focus. No synthetic garbage. For K-Cup pods, whole bean, or fresh ground coffee, go to 1775coffee.com. Use code STUDIO for 15% off and start your morning with coffee that stands for something. Oh, and every dollar spent enters you to win a Cybertruck, not on fire, and $30,000 in cash. So thank you again, Rumble, for supporting the TMI show. We appreciate you.
Thank you, 1775 Rumble Coffee.
Yeah, and just to let y'all know, as a coffee connoisseur, I love me some 1775 coffee. It's good.
Is it good? Is it strong?
You've tried it?
It's very good. Oh yeah, it's great. Good stuff.
I haven't tried it yet.
It's very good.
I probably should.
I highly recommend it.
I do like very strong coffee.
I do
Yesterday,
too.
I screwed up my coffee, and because I was stirring so early, and I woke up like pre-dawn, and I forgot that I already put a scoop of. And you guys are going to kill me for using stevia, but I put stevia in there. Ew. I know. So I put stevia in, and I forgot that I already did that.
No,
I put a second scoop in there.
Time.
Okay, I'm going to report you to
what?
I'm going to report you to RFK Jr.
You know, it's made from lye or something.
Yeah, it's bad for you. It's very bad for you. Use cane sugar.
It's just regular sugar. You can also do coconut or palm sugar, but definitely, eat, like Michael Pollan said, eat real food. Real butter.
Agree. It's not
real like salt. Real.
I don't want to throw
food.
this on my husband, but I'm going to throw him under the bus. It's because of him because it's calorie free. I don't care about the calories. Have you guys seen how thin I am? I don't
Make that bastard go run.
Yeah, but it's just made of cancer. It is cancer.
It is.
But anyway, I put a second scoop of cancer in my coffee yesterday.
What is wrong with you? Oh my
Listen,
God.
I forgot. I was just
all I'm saying is, I love
have a friend
coffee.
who's a cartoonist. She does that shit too. Like literally,
Stevia?
like a third of a cup is literally full of stevia.
Oh no! I usually just use a tiny.
She's also super skinny.
Teaspoon.
By the way,
wild.
it causes dementia.
Yeah.
I'm prone to that. I think already.
You're like, what?
Okay, I'm going to
Don't. Like, just stop. Sugar.
There goes
sugar,
Robbie.
Sugar.
Can we all please petition my husband because he's
Just got bite. You're a grown ass woman.
I know. I have my own separate sugar, but it's like I'm like it's right there already, and that's what I keep stocked. Anyway, that's a whole different conversation. I would love to talk to like a food scientist about this stuff.
We can do that
with the RFK. Like I'm thrilled. Like I don't generally drink my calories, and I don't generally drink colorful things unless it's like a cold pressed juice, in which case it looks like sewer sludge. That's the best for you. But yeah, that's the one thing I drink that's bad is I put stevia in the coffee because my husband insists on it.
I bet you have other bad habits too. Anyone who's willing to eat stevia is willing to put anything in their body.
That's true. I do have a chip habit, but I eat like a handful of chips. I don't like.
Well, you get like the better ones, like like the Trader Joe's type.
They're only marginally better. It's not much better. I've looked into it, so it's kind of. And I eat such a small amount. It's just because it's there to satisfy the umami part of your tongue.
Well, soon you'll just have the death tongue from the cancer. All right, here we go.
All right, let's go back.
Laying it on thick. All right, here we go. Transgender shooter Audrey Hale, who killed 6 people at the Covenant School shooting in Nashville a number of years ago, wrote about wanting to kill all the white kids, according to newly released diary entries. You'll remember, of course, that those diary entries were suppressed. Hale, who was born a white girl but identified as a dude, slammed white privilege, women, and Christianity in writings prior to the attack. However, the Nashville cops, in their final report last week, said notoriety was the main motivator in the shooting here. Being white sucks, but being black is so cool. Black people should rule, the diary said. White people should fall. Every white person who lived and died, I hate you all, Hale wrote, according to the New York Post. I hate the American people. America is not the land of the free. Well, that's true. It's a land full of idiots. It will only get worse in this country. Not near enough gods like me. America and its people all destined to soon be destroyed. Audrey may have had a point here. Hale fatally shot 6 people at a Christian school in Nashville on March 27, 2023. I thought that was longer ago for some reason. It seemed like it was longer. 3 of the victims were elementary age students. Hale was then shot by the cops shortly after the massacre. I don't really have a lot to say about this. It's not entirely shocking to me, Manila, that someone who conducts a school shooting at an elementary school might not have a very positive view toward humanity.
Mental illness, Ted. Mental illness. I don't know where Robbie disappeared to. I thought he would have a lot to say about this one. I have thoughts on this, and of course we are dead naming the school shooter, and she is a she. You're a biological female. She went to this school. She was a graduate of this school. And I would say he's a he. He died a he. No, she was still a she. She still owned a vagina.
She transitioned.
Doesn't matter if I dress like a boy. I didn't transition.
Okay, but
I'm wearing men's clothes right now.
You can transition. You can transition without, and you could change your clothes or not change your clothes. But she identified as a dude, so therefore we're supposed to say that she's a dude.
That's fine. Right now, in the next 5 minutes, you can call me Manil Low. I'm a dude. because I'm wearing a men's.
Wait, so do you
jacket.
subscribe? And a friend of mine, he believes in that, like you're not really all in. Like if you change from male to female, if you don't get your wang chopped off, you're not all in. Then
Right.
you don't get to be called a woman.
This person did not have, a man-made, pun intended, man-made penile
or woman-made
flaccid thing.
It could have been rock hard.
I don't
Could
know.
have been
As far as
studly.
I know, Audrey Hale still had a vagina. Audrey Hale still had breasts. Audrey Hale was still a female wearing boys' clothes, which I dress like that. I wear Vans. I wear like checkered Vans and sneakers and baggy jeans, and I mean that doesn't make me a boy.
Okay, but
However,
but he is trans. He's trans, so that
I don't.
makes.
That's fine. If this person were alive,
because this is new. You usually just sort of you're always on board with calling people what they want to be called up until now.
Just about to say that. I was just about to say
so
that.
why is this case different for you?
Let me talk. So if this person were alive, I would address them by the term that makes them happy. I'll call you the fucking Dalai Lama if that makes you happy. But
I want you to call me the Dalai Lama.
Then Dalai Lama Ted, this fucking person is an absolute psycho. They self-loathe themselves for being born a female.
And white.
And white. So there's self-loathing there. Now you're going to hate an entire race of people.
You're allowed to be self-loathing.
And then that's fine too. But then when you're going to go shoot up an entire school, call yourself in your diary a god, and go kill innocent, harmless little children that are 8 or 9 years old, I'm sorry. You have no respect of humanity coming from Manila or Manila Chan.
Wait, so you're saying that you're saying that like if you commit despicable murder of innocent children, then you don't get to be trans.
You don't get to be
your transdom doesn't get recognized by Manila.
No, but you don't get the respect of humanity.
What about a speeding ticket?
I'm back.
What about tax evasion? What crime?
Yeah, that's fine.
What crime causes you?
When you kill innocent
what if you only
like
punch a little kid in the face? What about that?
Then you lose my respect. You have no humanity in you, and you don't deserve my respect. So I think.
What if you're like a gross supermarket Santa, and like you just creep out
you're
the kid, but you don't do anything? No, not diddling. You're just gross and like you smell like pee.
Oh, there's plenty of them. No, you're still a human, and I still feel for you. But when you go this far to where you're literally taking the lives of innocent small children, then you are, to me, are no longer human, and you don't deserve my humanity. So I'm not going to recognize you as whatever your preferred.
The dude's dead. How much more do you want to beat him up? I mean, he got shut gunned down by the cops. There's no bigger punishment than death. He's gone.
I think so. Life in prison, suffering.
It's a girl. First and foremost, it's
Thank
a chick. It's a girl who's cosplaying as a guy. Second, if you hate yourself,
Manila, you're only agreeing with him on this because of the crime that he committed.
That she committed.
Yeah.
She killed a bunch
You've
of
lost
kids.
your humanity in my book.
Well, we're not talking about humanity here. We're talking about gender identification.
That's right. And I will only I will give the respect to the human that earned respect. So I don't care if you're born with a penis or a vagina and identify as a walrus like John Bolton does. I will still give you an ounce of dignified.
But okay, so what if you're not
human.
trans and you commit? There are most heinous crimes are committed by cis people. How do you deny them their humanity?
Dudes, I'll call you
How does their humanity get denied in all this?
So I call him a monster usually, right? Like.
Okay, well, but so the trans person gets 2 sanctions. They're called a monster, and you detransition them.
Don't care.
Yes. What's the point? What's the argument?
I'm just trying to drill down to Manila's logic here.
Yeah, they don't deserve any of my human kindness. So no.
So the trans person who kills kids deserves less human kindness than the cis person who kills kids.
They both deserve to burn in hell for all of eternity. Problem solved. Can we just agree on that? Killing kids is wrong, whether if they're in school.
I think we can agree on that. Yeah.
I mean, a dead kid is repugnant. All right. Whether you kill that kid in an abortion clinic, if you drop a bomb on them in an apartment building, or if you go into a school and you kill them, you are a fucking monster. Benjamin Netanyahu is as much of a monster as this tranny who went and shot up all these kids.
Oh, I would say Benjamin Netanyahu is far more.
Because I completely agree.
The scale.
I mean, he has the power of the state, but the point is, a monster is a monster is a monster.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you want to cosplay,
not to mention Benjamin, this dude was psychotic. Benjamin Netanyahu is not psychotic. Benjamin Netanyahu
he's just evil.
Well, he is, but he's not psychotic. In other words, he can
arguable.
I mean, he can get by and not swallow his own tongue. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a fucking moron, psychotic. He doesn't, whatever. I don't know. I think it's an interesting question. I think it's, why do you think, based on all it, why do you think the Nashville Police Department withheld this stuff? It's not that sensational. Why did they withhold it for 2 years?
Well, what I want to know is why have they never released this woman's manifesto? They still haven't released it.
Well, I think that's what this is, right?
That's just a part of it. I mean, no, release the whole thing. Release the whole thing. Put it in the newspaper.
Right.
I mean, no, the Unabomber, we publish his stuff. Drop hers out there. Just go ahead and just put her manifesto out for the masses to see. And I mean, just put it out there. Just stop spoon feeding.
Yeah. The drip on this story is stupid. It's been
I agree
2
with
years.
That.
And
all right, let's keep going here.
It's just too much at this point. Like, just let it out. Biden's out of power. DEI is no longer en vogue. Like, it's fine to just let the truth out, I would say. So, Trump's in power. Let it out.
Yeah. For how much longer? Speaking of which, we'll just do this.
Thank you, Robbie.
As recession fears grow, the CEO of the biggest asset management company thinks one has already arrived. And he says he's not alone. Most CEOs I talk to would say we're probably already in a recession. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink said at an event for the Economic Club of New York yesterday. Fink referred to the airline industry as a canary in the coal mine. I was told that the canary is sick already, he said. Fink added that he thinks Trump's tariffs could make it difficult for the Fed to cut interest rates, as it usually does during recessions, which could exacerbate inflation. This notion that the Fed is going to ease 4 times this year, I see zero chance of that, he said, because that was the promise. We were going to see 4 quarter-point cuts last year and 4 quarter points this year. I'm much more worried that we could have elevated inflation that's going to bring rates up much higher than they are today. BlackRock has over $11 trillion in assets under management across public and private investments. The S&P 500 is down 12% since March 7th, and the NASDAQ Composite's down 14% during that same period. There's an interesting piece in the New York Times this morning, Manila, comparing Donald Trump and the reaction to his tariffs to Liz Truss, the cabbage lady there in the UK. But I mean, there's a big difference, right? Like, we can't call a special election to get rid of Trump. The only way that he can be gone in midterm is for him to be impeached, and that's just not going to happen.
Representative Al Green is preparing to
wave his cane.
Well, besides that, and keep his furry face, like his wolf boy look, even furrier. Which is perfect for the next story.
It is true.
Maybe they got the DNA from Congressman Green from
maybe,
Texas. but he's already ready to file articles of impeachment. I read late last night.
Well, because I mean, Trump, so. you need to.
I don't know.
Your party has to have control of the House of Representatives.
I know.
To start it.
I know, but he says he's going to do it. Remember, he was waving his cane at the non-State of the Union, and he got escorted out for the first time that we've seen a lawmaker get escorted out. But anyway, he's gonna file articles of impeachment against Trump. And you got Larry Fink, Jamie Dimon yesterday. All of these big hedge fund / bankers / business people. We're well into the 60 to 70 to 80% territory at this point, where they're like, okay, recession is imminent because of the tariffs. it still doesn't mean that Trump isn't doing this on purpose. We may not understand or get it yet.
Well, of course he's doing it on purpose.
I don't think he's as hapless as we think he is. I think maybe we just don't know the end goal. We may not like it. I just don't understand the process.
I think we know the end goal. The only question is whether the question is A, there's two questions here. A, is his end goal achievable? And B, is the cost, what will the cost be? I think the end goal is to bring jobs back to the United States and to reindustrialize the Rust Belt.
But by driving us into recession first?
Well, no, I don't think anybody wants to cause a recession. He might think that a recession is a price that we have to pay, or it's maybe more to the point, it's a risk we have to take in order to achieve reindustrialization. I don't know, I don't know that it's even possible to achieve that. I think at this point, the horse has run out of the barn. It's over. If we had done this back in the 60s, it might have worked. But now, 60 years later, forget it. I mean, those jobs are gone, daddy gone, and we're not getting them back.
Yeah.
And so I think, given that, if you don't have success, and then why are you paying cost, in the form of tanking the economy when you don't even have a chance at success? I don't think there is a chance of success. And there's also this. Let's just say this really works. How does it look? It looks like factory owner Manila is like, oh my God, look at these tariffs. I could open my own giant factory of selling widgets now in the Midwest. And now with no tariffs on my American factory, I will have a competitive advantage selling my widgets here in the US. And the only problem with that theory is it's going to take factory owner Manila 3, 4, 5 years to get the necessary permits, line up the financing, hire all the workers, build the factory. And it opens up, in the Gavin Newsom administration in 2029. And then it's like, oh, that policy is all gone. The tariffs go away. And then why did you open your factory? Because now you no longer have that competitive advantage. I mean, business people aren't stupid. They're looking at the 5-year, 10-year view. And it's like, well, can I make money in the next 5 or 10 years? The point is, you don't really know. So therefore, it's not worth doing.
I'll say this, though, Ted. I may not understand, know, or can even anticipate what the outcome that the Trump administration is anticipating. But one thing I do know is under a President Gavin Newsom, let's practice saying that, folks. President Newsom. When President Newsom comes to power, he is super pro-China, super pro-business. Even though he shut down a whole bunch of California businesses during COVID, when it comes to international trade, that is one area where Gavin Newsom is all in, because he and his wife traveled to China before Xi Jinping came to the U.S. for the APEC. I was confused, the PEC and the PAC. The APEC, the Asia Pacific Economic. What's the C for? See, it's my stevia dementia kicking in. That I'm already prone to have anyway, because it runs in my family.
That's because you're all eating stevia.
He traveled to China beforehand, because guess what? All of the trade coming from China comes to California ports. It comes to Los Angeles and it comes to Long Beach. That's the majority of where the Chinese products come to the United States. It enters port in Los Angeles. And so having that big Chinese relationship is massively important to Gavin Newsom. And all I know is whatever President Trump is doing today, especially in the way of business or trying to bully China, if you appear to be screwing up business ties, as it seems that he's doing with China, you are really bolstering a position for a President Newsom. Just saying.
Okay.
All right. So this last one. I get this one.
Certainly not least. Go.
I get this one because it's cute and I'm the chief of cute on this show.
Okay.
Okay. And besides, Ted likes felines.
I was told I was the. All right, never mind.
Ted is into felines. I'm into canines. I'm a dog person. Ted's a cat person. I like all animals.
True. Me too.
But that's what this story is. This is this story. So biotech startup Colossal, it's based in Dallas, Texas, announced yesterday it has successfully revived the dire wolf, which went extinct thousands of years ago, like 10,000 plus years ago, and was popularized through the show Game of Thrones. I'm sure a lot of our viewers watch that.
Mm-hmm.
The breakthrough marks the world's first de-extinction of an animal. Mm-hmm. A de-extinction. Just let that sink in. The dire wolf roamed the Americas more than 12,000 years ago before its prey, large herbivores like bison, where Robbie lives, were largely depleted. Colossal created 3 wolves, 6-month-old adolescents Romulus and Remus, and a brand new pup right there. Brand new pup, Khaleesi. I think that's a girl. The company created the wolves using...
Of course, that's a reference to Game of Thrones.
Yes. The company created the wolves using DNA fragments. Look at them, DNA fragments from a 72,000-year-old skull. They also used CRISPR technology to edit genes of the dire wolf's closest living relative, the gray wolf, selecting for white fur. So this is, like designer babies. This is a designer wolf. Colossal launched back in 2021. Oh, wow. They're fairly new. I thought they were a little bit older. And they are now valued at over $10 billion. They seek to recreate extinct species like the woolly mammoth and the dodo bird. The company hopes the projects will yield profitable insights to benefit human health, like helping to develop artificial wombs. So on that last note, that gives me some weird like Matrix type thoughts in my head. But these wolves, I mean, okay, they're super cute, but look, at 6 months old, they're already this big. That means they're not purebred, right, Ted? If they are part gray wolf, except they selected for
they're not, and they can't be. So it's kind of a misnomer to be like. I mean, this is kind of like you're from California, and you guys had the California condor, which basically went extinct. There were, I believe, 4 specimens living in the wild at the time when they were like, well, these guys are on the way out, and they started crossbreeding them with the Andean condor, and then
is that what it is?
And now there are a decent number of condors in California. I don't know if you've ever seen one. I have not, but people do see them, and they're massive. And anyway, so I think that this is like that, right? They're cross. By the way, they are the 120,000-year-old dire wolf, which way predates the last ice age, was about the size of the gray wolf in North America today. And interestingly, genetically, this was an American wolf. In other words, it did not live in Europe.
You won't get deported, is what you mean?
Well, yeah, maybe now under the Supreme Court. They are amazingly beautiful.
So cute.
And obviously wolves are common in Asia and in Northern Europe. All throughout the Middle Ages, Europe had lots of wolves, but not dire wolves even 100,000 years ago. So I'm not sure this is like a great idea.
I agree. I just don't like fucking.
I don't really see the point, really.
Like, other than to say, I achieved this, I did this.
Yeah.
Why bring them back? Like, why? Oh God, they're so cute though. Oh,
they are cute. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, in Russia, people have pet wolves.
Oh, I know. The Russians have pet bears, Ted.
I know. It's so cool. I want a pet bear.
It's a thing. Oh my God.
I'd rather have a wolf than a bear. I feel like a wolf would like protect me. Like if ICE came and broke into my apartment, like my wolf would eat them. The bear might just who knows what it would do. It might eat them.
It would eat
but
everybody.
It might not.
Yeah, I'm not sure it has the instinct to like. I don't know that the bear would mama bear you and think of
Mhm.
you as its cub,
Mhm.
or just be like you're all dinner. Whereas
It depends on the type of
the
bear too.
dog, I don't. I mean, the wolf, I should say.
Well, bears are
Um,
they are canids, so they have that pack instinct,
yeah,
but they're not the same.
Robbie's right. Robbie says it's like Jurassic Park in the quote. The scientists are more interested in what they can do over what they should.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's what they
that's right.
can do. But
Yeah.
oh, these are so stinking cute. I'm just saying, not gonna lie. Like that's a stinking cute puppy. That's all I gotta say. Because hey, we should end the news today on this. Like, look at that. Look at that adorable face. Oh my god. Oh my god. And then it's gonna grow up to be like what? Like a 300-pound killer?
Nah, it's not gonna be that.
They're not that big, are they?
They're not that big. No, it'll be maybe 120 pounds.
Really? They're only that big?
150 maybe. Yeah.
I mean, it's bigger than me, but
They're big wolves. I mean, they're
Have you ever
as
seen a
big
wolf?
as wolves get. So when I was in Central Asia one time, I got up in the middle of the night. I was staying at a yurt in the mountains in Kyrgyzstan, and the headman said,
Of course
don't.
you were.
So I got up to take a piss in the middle of the night, and I was pissed like I don't know 100 feet away from the yurt, and suddenly I became aware of the fact that there were several wolves surrounding me, Central Asian wolves, and I got to tell you, the chill of terror right down to your bones, where you're freezing cold, where you see this animal and it's like, with the baring its
Yep.
fangs, and like with the that thing, it was like, oh my god. And
Yeah,
so
I've not
I
been
made
back.
my way back to my yurt. I told the headman the next day what had happened. He's like,
Well,
you don't
huge.
go out there to piss. Are you kidding? There's wolves out there. I thought you knew that. I'm like, I didn't know that. He goes, you don't have wolves in America? I'm like, no, we killed them all.
Oh, well, I've not come face to face with one, but I've only had one wolf encounter, but it was a pack of wolves. I was 18 years old, staying at a cabin in Grass Valley, that's Northern California. And back then, Grass Valley was not developed. It was still like some Yahoo hippie town in NorCal, right? And like things were sparse, and really I was like in an old creaky cabin. And okay, well, I went outside for a cigarette. Like you went out to pee. I went out for a cigarette. I went out to light up a cigarette. And no one ever warned me that these things were there up in NorCal, up in the woods. And I hear some rustling it's like a dip of a hill, right? My cabin's on this hill, and probably, I don't know, 20, 30 yards away on the other hill, I could start seeing shadows. I thought it was a dog, because I'm a city girl. I thought it was a dog. I light up a cigarette, and then I see yellow eyes, and then I see more yellow eyes, and I see more yellow eyes, and suddenly I realize it's a pack, and I realize I'm in the woods, and I realize they're wolves, and I start hearing them. I could hear them coming through the brush, right? They're like making these sounds, and I'm going, holy shit, these are wolves. Anyway, I wasted a perfectly good cigarette and ran back inside.
Yeah.
To not be eaten by wolves.
Yeah, no. There's just something about coming into contact with a predator and realizing you're not at the top of the food chain.
They were big, and there was at least 6 of them. I would say at least half a dozen. And I remember they were much, much bigger, because at that point I could see them moving in the moonlight. They were much bigger than the biggest dogs, on average.
I mean, this is kind of a scam, I will say, because it's like according to this article in like Al Jazeera, they're like 99% genetically gray wolf.
Oh, come on.
Now, it is also true that like if like the difference between a human and a chimpanzee is only like 0.4%. So a little bit goes a long way. I think like I remember reading that like a banana is 72% the same as us. So a little goes a long way, but still it's not really a dire wolf,
Yeah, well, Is
It
Barack
has dire
Obama
wolf
black?
in it for sure.
That's the argument, right? The
It
argument of
does.
all times is
It
argument
does.
is Barack Obama black or is he white? Or is
Right,
he
that's a
both?
good question. Or is race an artificial construct? I say
Right.
yes.
So, we'll leave it right there on the cuteness of these puppies. Like that's gonna do it. I thought we'd have more time.
Cubs. They're cubs.
Oh, cubs.
Wolves have cubs.
They're puppies, though. Look at them. They're just so cute. I miss having a pup. Oh God, stinking cute. Anyway, they're gonna grow up and eat your face off.
Probably. That's true.
Like just
But,
no bones about it. Ha ha.
What has my face ever done for me? Anyway. All right.
All right, guys, that's it. That's it for us. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit the like and the subscribe button, and follow or whatever, all that stuff. We'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Thank you guys, everybody in the Rumble room, keeping it hot. All our regular coffee crew in there. Thank you. We'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. Adios, amigos. Thank you. Bye.